Imagine a city so wealthy, its walls stretched for miles. Its art so breathtaking that Europeans compared it to the Italian Renaissance. Then, in a matter of weeks, it was burned to ashes, its treasures scattered in museums across the whole world. This is the story of ancient Benin City in 1897, a violent theft disguised as an empire expansion, a looting so vast that its scars still shapes global museums today. The ancient kingdom of Benin wasn't just any ordinary African city-state. It was a powerhouse. The Oba ruled over a highly organized state. Its walls and moats were some of the largest earthworks in the world. Its guilds of bronze casters and ivory carvers produced masterpieces that told the story of his kings, battles, and gods. But to Britain, interaction with Benin wasn't just about history. It was about profit, palm oil, ivory, and access to trade. The problem, however, the Oba, Ovonramwen Nogbaisi, he refused to bend fully to the demands of the British. You see, in June 1896, the Niger Coast Protectorate appointed James Robert Phillips as its deputy commissioner and consul. The British claimed Benin was within the domain of the Niger Coast Protectorate. The Niger Coast Protectorate officials regarded Oba Ovonramwen as an obstacle to British access to trade commodities. To force Oba Ovonramwen to comply with the conditions of the trade treaties, which were far more advantageous to the British, Phillips requested permission from the British government to send an armed force to Benin City. In an effort to have his request fulfilled, he added that the vast amounts of ivory in Benin City would help cover for the cost of the armed forces. After this request was denied by the Foreign Office, Phillips led without permission an expedition of 9 British men and an estimated 200 to 250 carriers in January 1897. When Phillips and his party approached, they received warnings that any white man who approached Benin City would be killed. Phillips' party was on his way to Benin during the sacred Igwe festival, or the Festival of Yams. Since the Igwe festival required that the Oba refrain from certain practices, such as meeting with foreigners, he was restricted from receiving the Phillips party. But not heeding the warnings, the Phillips expedition continued with his mission. All of the British participants, except for 2, were killed. It is, however, unclear how many carriers were also killed. To Britain, this was the perfect excuse they had been waiting for. The Phillips massacre became the headline and the justification for war. Britain struck back with an overwhelming force of 1,400 soldiers, 2,500 carriers, and machine guns. From February 9 to 27, 1897, villages were bombarded, civilians slaughtered, sacred shrines torched, Benin City itself was shelled. His royal palace was destroyed and even his sacred trees blown apart. And then came the looting. Historians estimated over 10,000 treasures were taken. Bronze plaques, carved ivories, coral regalias, leopard statues, and even human remains, amongst other things. The irony, however, British newspaper at the time portrayed it as a civilizing mission. Yet, photographs tells the truth. British soldiers posing proudly among piles of stolen tusks, bronzes, and altars. These were mere objects and bounties to the British, but to Benin Kingdom, these were their history books ripped from their homes and shipped to museums across Europe and America. Oba Ovonramwen would eventually surrender and captured. He was exiled to Calabar, where he lived and died in 1914. Several of his high-ranking chiefs and generals were executed, but the kingdom's memory lived on, scattered across museum glass cases around the world. Here is the shocking fact. The British Museum still holds over 900 pieces of Benin's loot. The Metropolitan Art Museum in New York, the Smithsonian, and the Ethnological Museum in Berlin all hold fragments of a kingdom torn apart. For decades, Western curators praised the artistry, even comparing Edo's bronzes to the Renaissance works. But instead of crediting Edo's genius, they claimed the Portuguese, who the Benin Kingdom had had earlier contact with, taught them all this, a lie born of colonial arrogance. For nearly a century, the Obas of Benin has demanded their return. Today, the tide is finally turning. Germany has begun restitution. The Netherlands returned 119 bronzes, the largest however yet. The Smithsonian and the Metropolitan Art Museum have also sent pieces back. But the struggle isn't over. Who in Nigeria should hold them? The federal government, the Oba's Palace, or the new Museum for West African Art in Benin City? What is clear is this: each object returned is a page of stolen history coming home. So to the people in the diaspora, when you walk into a museum and admire a shimmering Benin bronze, ask yourself, whose history are you looking at, and why is it not where it belongs? Because the story of Benin isn't just about its past, it is about how we choose to reckon with stolen legacies today. Drop a comment if you think it's time for all museums to return stolen African heritage, and follow for more untold Nigerian history.